See the crews in their PPE or personal protection equipment.
And if you followed along during launch, similar to crew ingressing the Dragon for the first time, there's on the ground supporting these efforts. Likewise, during splashdown, there's an entire team of people on the ground supporting recovery. So as the vehicle, not only is recovered from the water boat, it's then handed off to people on the recovery teams who have very specific roles.
As we mentioned before, the Crew Dragon, that air pressure has to be equated to the external pressure, so that, that's what's going on. You can see now the crews have off their PPE.
Dragon Space X at 36 minutes and 25 seconds after splashdown. We are go for side hatch opening. Stand by for hatch opening and egress.
We are watching the clock.
I think they're more than eager for that first breath of fresh air about to happen.
All right, looks like that side hatch is open.
Excellent.
Flight cert to do a quick check with the crew. That white piece of framing there is a fixture that we'll put inside the, yes, we'll put that piece of fixturing around the side hatch just to protect it while the crews are. All right, so just the recovery crew there giving a quick reminder to the Axiom 1 crew in terms of, egressing or exiting the capsule. Egressing or exiting the capsule. We have of the capsule, but just a quick rundown. I've had.
It's nice to have the reminders, and it's good to just say, "Hey, we're almost there." But yeah. But regardless, welcome home.
Here we have the Commander MLA on the left-hand side of your screen and pilot Larry Connor on the right-hand side.
This view, you can see a few more of the ground team member adjustments and checks on the vehicle prior to crew egressing through that side hatch. Camera making way to see our crew for the first time there. Living all in good spirits.
See a bunch of thumbs up.
Welcome home, AX1.
Miles on board.
It's always good to see.
So on the far left there, mission specialist Mark Pathy, pilot Larry Connor, then to the right, MLA, and on the far right, Eitan Stiba. For Mark, Larry, and Eitan, it was their first trip to space. They had been to space previously, but as I mentioned before, this was the first time that he returned to Earth via splashdown, so
Right.
new experience for him. Yeah, that's right. I believe you said earlier that he flew on Space Shuttle Endeavour.
Which, awesomely enough, is parked here in LA. And we got to go see it the other day.
HS 113?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Which, awesomely enough, is parked here in LA. And we got to go see it the other day.
It sure is. So the recovery teams are just preparing the side hatch there for the crew's egress.
That's the white frame you mentioned.
So just a fixture there to help protect that side hatch during this process. As we said before, this capsule has been reused. We plan to reuse it in the future. The crew themselves, but also the hardware.
Yeah. I imagine that's the sealing mechanism, so you want to protect that as you're walking over it and making sure it stays pristine.
All right, so that was the footrest that we saw coming out. These in order to allow the crew to get out of their seats a little easier. Also help, just increase the usable volume inside Dragon. John,
Right.
you and I were in the training capsule. It's about 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And it's definitely makes a difference in terms
Right.
like that, which seem like a small or a thin item that doesn't really take up space,
Right.
but in reality, in terms of the volume that it occupies and where in that volume it is placed, it does make of mobility. And when you're on orbit in microgravity, it's a lot
different.
easier to get around than when you're stuck here on Earth with that
1G
pesky
environment.
gravity. Yeah.
Pesky gravity. Right, and I don't know if it's the same for egress, but during launch we noticed that there was a very particular way in which crew and ground teams had to ingress the vehicle because of those volumetric constraints. But allowing those footrests to come out does free up space a little easier. It's been they've spent a number of days in orbit, haven't felt the effects of gravity in a while. So making it as easy as possible to egress the vehicle is really for their comfort, but also for everybody's safety.
It looks like pilot Larry Connor might be the first one to exit the vehicle.
See on the left-hand shot, the
a 5-point safety harness, so a little bit more complex than the seatbelt you and I use in our cars. It's really designed to be safe. Crew's ergonomics, or the positions that their body is in during the dynamic portions of the mission. That they're strapped in properly, but also so that they're comfortable.
right.
So that's what the recovery teams are now assisting the crews in unlatching, is that safety harness.
Right.
So we can see there Larry Connor start out of his seat and onto the deck there on our recovery ship Megan.
See Larry making his egress from the Dragon Endeavour. You can hear the cheers in the background for it.
All right, those are his back on planet Earth after spending 17 days on orbit. If it were me, I imagine I'd probably feel a little shaky, right? Because they don't have gravity up there, exercise equipment to keep their muscles working while they're up there. But still, it's.
Sarah, we're going off comm. Thanks for everything. We'll see you on deck.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
My last call there from MLA to say that they're no longer going to be utilizing the Dragon communication systems. They'll just talk with everybody on the deck.
So there we saw he was seated on the far left, or at the left window seat. All right, removing the footrests, other two seats.
Like you said, Kate.
I have a feeling Aton will be next.
Yeah.
No, it looks like it.
Yeah, that's certainly part of the reacclimation process, is remembering those muscles that help keep you stabilized in the environment. You know, you haven't used them in a few days, so it's certainly coming back home.
Oh, just kidding. All right, so Aton will be the next one to come out. It's very, you know, that. It's very, you know, that feels very on par for him. You know, we've heard that MLA really was an exemplary commander for this crew, and you know, he basically just said, "No, Aton goes first. I'll be last."
Yeah.
One of my favorite phrases is "Leaders eat last. Else goes first,"
Yeah.
and you know, it's just great to see that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. We see Aton making his egress and first stance back on ground in 17 days.
Yeah, it's quite the readjustment coming back down to Earth and going from, you know, regardless of how long you're up there, obviously it's, you know, the longer you are, the more difficult the transition can. But you know, even after the 17 days that they were in microgravity, you know, that's still a pretty significant change on the body.
Yeah, it certainly is.
So it's pretty amazing. Just take those steps and begin that reacclimation process.
Exactly.
Now, once they are, so for the 3 crew members that we saw exit, you know, they walk off, and they are immediately escorted into one of the medical bays that's on board. So the recovery vessels are fully equipped with medical, any ailments or illness that the crew might be feeling at that time. It seems like everybody was in really good spirits and everybody was feeling quite well. But you know, that capability is on board. And so basically the crews just go in and get checked out by the flight surgeon and get those thumbs up.
Yeah, just that capability to have. With that, all 4 crew members of AX-1 are now safely out of the Crew Dragon Endeavour.
So you can see their mission control here behind us at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Checking in now that pretty much all the At
this point, we'll just be waiting on crew to make, you know, they have all their medical checks coming out of the vehicle. They're happy, healthy, feeling good.
Yeah.
All right, well, as the crew...
Yeah.
All right, well, as the crews are now safely aboard the recovery vessel and have completed their journey to the ISS and back, is Axiom's Chief Business Officer, Amir Blackman.
Thank you. John, Kate, and the Axiom and SpaceX media teams, thank you for that wonderful... The AX-1 mission is one of the more visible milestones of our journey to ensure that space travel is opened up to more and more of the brightest minds and eager explorers from around the world who want to make our place. And we believe this mission, represented by the US, Canada, Spain, and Israel, advances that vision of a unified humanity reaching for the stars. Despite the strife going on the ground, astronauts continued working together as a beacon of international cooperation. In the years preceding this mission, we at Axiom Space set out to develop the procedures, foster the agreements and support teams needed to expand what had historically been negotiated only between governments. And with every step, we've created new precedents. We set the bar very high for ourselves out of this crew. And here we are at the conclusion of an incredible mission, and I must say the teams exceeded every expectation. We could not be more proud of what has just been accomplished by Commander Michael Lopez Alegria, Eitan Stibe, and Mark Cathy, as well as the hundreds of team members who have played a part in the success of AX-1. Over the course of this mission, we've succeeded in inspiring the stars. Over 400 interns applied for the 23 openings at Axiom. 5 additional countries made the decision to fly their astronauts with us, and every day we're approached by new innovators with microgravity. To the teams at NASA and SpaceX, to each crew member's own teams in Ohio, Canada, Spain, and Israel, to the teams at the Ramon Foundation and Orkia Mission, and investigators around the world who have trusted us with facilitating your studies, and to the Axiom family who have worked tirelessly these last few weeks and months. Thank you. On behalf of Axiom Space, crew of AX-1, Mark, Eitan, Larry, Mike, well done, and welcome home. For our Hebrew-speaking audience, משימת AX-1 היא אחת במאמצינו לפתיחת החלל להמוני היזמים והחוקרים הנלהבים מכל רחבי העולם, אלה ששואפים לנצל את התנאים המיוחדים, כמו חוסר הכבדה בתחנת החלל, שומרות על עולמנו ומשפרות את איכות החיים על כדור הארץ. ואנחנו מאמינים שהמשימה שכעת הסתיימה בהצלחה מרבית, שבה מיוצגת ארצות הברית, קנדה וישראל, מקדמת את החזון של איחוד המין האנושי בהרחבת פעילותנו בחלל. אכן, למרות המאבקים בין מדינות על הקרקע, צוותי האסטרונאוטים המשיכו את עבודתם המשותפת כדוגמה וסמל לאפשרויות של שיתוף פעולה לכל ספייס. פעלנו ליצירת מהלכים, הסכמים והקמת צוותים הדרושים ליישום. בשנים שקדמו למשלחת הזאת, אנו ספייס פעלנו ליצירת מהלכים, הסכמים והקמת צוותים הדרושים ליישום פעילות פרטית בחלל, פעילויות שלאורך ההיסטוריה נעשו על ידי ממשלות וסוכנויות חלל, כל צד בפעילויות ללא תקדים. אנחנו נמצאים בסיום מוצלח, ואפשר בקלות לומר שהצוות עלה על כל הציפיות. הצוות עלה על כל הציפיות. אנחנו מלאי גאווה עצומה נוכח ההישגים שאליהם הגיעו מפקד מיכאל לופז, איתן סטיבה, מרק פאטי, ואיתם כל מאות אנשי הצוותים התומכים שתרמו להצלחת משימת AX-1. במשך פיתוח המשימה וביצוע בין רבים שגם הם רוצים למצוא את מקומם בין הכוכבים. לדוגמה, אקסיום ספייס קיבלה מעל 400 פניות עבור כיתה של 23 סטאז'רים. 5 מדינות החליטו מטעמם דרך אקסיום לחלל, ובכל יום אנחנו מקבלים פניות מאנשי מדע ויזמים שרוצים לנצל את תנאי החלל. וכאן המקום להודות. נאס"א, SpaceX, לכל אנשי התמיכה של צוות AX-1 הנמצאים באוהיו, קנדה, ספרד וישראל, לחוקרים בארצות רבות שסמכו עלינו ועל יכולתם את הפרויקטים שלכם בחלל, ולמשפחת אקסיום הנרחבת, כולל במיוחד את צוות קרן ארמון ומסיבת רקיע שעבדו במסירות ימים ולילות בחודשים האחרונים. ספייס, לצוות של AX-1, מרק, איתן, לארי ואלי, כל הכבוד והגאווה, וברוכים השבים הביתה לכדור הארץ. Sean, back to you.
Amir, thank you, and very well said. Axiom 1 is a huge moment in the story of human spaceflight, and one that we will certainly be celebrating for a while. But yet, it's a huge learning opportunity for us as well. Our long-term possible. We want to build on moments like these to help us better develop and fly Axiom Station, a new destination in space that many more will be able to visit in the future.
Well, now that our crew is safely back checked by our medical team, we're going to wrap up our live coverage of their historic return. The Axiom 1 crew launched on April 8th from Kennedy Space Center, docked with the International Space Station on April 9th, spent 15 days on station before undocking yesterday, April 24th. And now, as you just saw about an hour ago, they splashed down just off the coast.
Right, and this has just been such an incredible journey for everybody, for me personally, But next up, this crew is going to be able to catch a helicopter flight back to shore while they will be rejoined with their families. And so, while this concludes the flight portion of the AX-1 mission, much of the research portfolios that were performed on station will continue to be reviewed and analyzed in the coming days and weeks. So some of their studies will continue over the coming days and months. You know, Kate, I know that the teams here at Hawthorne are now turning their attention towards Crew 4, so you guys have a bit of planning to do for that.
Yeah, expecting to launch our next NASA crew, which is Crew 4, on the 27th. The Crew 3 crew, you know, just like we did the Axiom crew. So once again, weather, hoping that it plays along.
Exactly. Well, Kate, it's been an absolute pleasure sharing so much for this opportunity, you know, both for the launch of AX1 on April 8th, a few weeks ago, and now we're planning today. So thank you very much. And to all of you watching, thank you for tuning in. You know, it's been an honor and a privilege. Larry, Eitan, and Mark, the first all-private crew to the International Space Station with all of you. As we've said from the beginning and throughout this mission, the AX1 mission is the first step in teaching us more about the next chapter of spaceflight together. You know, understanding how we work together as a team to allow low Earth orbit operations to evolve is a critical step in this relationship. Like every good relationship, we're going to challenge and learn from each other along the way. Ultimately, we all want to see the same thing, and that's mission success, right? For sure. So be sure to check out axiomspace.com as we continue to pursue new commercial opportunities for human spaceflight. I'm John Rackham with Axiom Space X, signing off with a final welcome home to the crew of AX1.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you soon.